Good afternoon. Jim Dowson here, guest presenter with the Templar report. And today I want to talk to you about, guess what? Brexit. So this is obviously maybe a bit boring for people outside the UK, but it shouldn't really be because it concerns the whole world. But especially Brits, you'll be interested in this. And once again, we're being trussed up like a Christmas turkey. Stuffed, done over, lied to, and the will of the people trampled underfoot. I woke up, I don't usually buy this paper, I may add, but it had a good headline. We're in the Brexit. There you go. Well, who didn't know it? Another headline, stuck in the middle with you until 2099. I said it before and I'll say it again. Brexit was, is and always will be a con. There is no way Britain was ever going to get to leave the EU. It was never going to happen. And we look at this deal. Let's have a wee look, because today we see now, I see on here, Rees-Mogg has gave Theresa May marching orders and he's put in a letter of no confidence. Quite a lot of people have resigned and so on and so forth, which could lead to a snap general election if we're not careful. And here's what gets really scary. At this moment in time, I have no doubt whatsoever that the new Prime Minister would be one Jeremy, I support every terrorist group in the bloody world, Corbyn. Now, I want to speak to the people out there who are under 50, because I'm not. And I remember living under a socialist government. Now, people say, well, Blair. No. Blair wasn't a socialist. Blair was a Tory. That's what he was. But the last socialist government is before Thatcher. And I lived under it. And I want people across the world to take note of this. I grew up in 1973, 74, 75, 76. In some of those years, we only were allowed, our parents were only allowed to work 3 days a week. Mandatory, the 3 day a week. People could only go to work and were only paid for 3 days per week. I mentioned this the other week about a 3 day week, and somebody said, that'd be great, you don't need to do so much work, you still get paid. No, you get 3 days wages. Petrol quadrupled. I'll say it again, petrol quadrupled. What would happen tomorrow to you in your school run, in your job, if petrol quadrupled, if you're paid nearly 30 quid for a gallon of petrol? Can you imagine it? Well, that's what happened to us in the 70s. For a whole summer, there was no sugar in the shops at all, no sugar. In fact, there was very little in the shops, period, because the fuel was so dear, the transport guys were off. And it was like Soviet Russia, we had to queue up just to try and get bread, which was extremely scarce. Then the miners went on strike with no coal, so the winter of 73, I think. We had to pull down all the skirting boards in our house and lift up the old floorboards in our spare room and burn them to keep warm. This is the 70s, 1970s, no 1870s I'm talking about here. And other horror stories like, you know, getting into shops by candlelight and being at school with candlelight. That's what happened to Britain under the last socialist Labour government. And this Brexit thing could pull down the Tories. Mr Corbyn will be in. And if you think it's bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. I would quite like it in a way, because all these snowflake liberals, public sector workers and middle class people who think Jeremy Corbyn's brilliant and he's so cool, it'd be fantastic to see them with no electricity and sitting by candlelight. That would be good. It would knock stupid red communism, socialism out their heads once and for all. So, but it could happen. And what is going on? This deal that Theresa May's people have brokered with the EU, it isn't a deal. It's a capitulation. And it's a disgrace to the memory of our people who we were remembering only on Sunday a few days ago. You know, today's Thursday the 15th of November. 4 days ago I was in France, and Belgium, remembering the sacrifice of our people in the First and Second Wars. And for just to go over and hand Britain to Europe on a plate, it's disrespectful, not just to us, but it's disrespectful for people who gave their life's blood for this country. That's the big heartbreak here. You know, we've just rolled over to the EU without a shot being fired, and it's not good enough. But what does that actually mean? What is the deal? Well, there is no deal. The deal is, the EU, for example, can still fish in our waters and keep our fishing industry destroyed. The Northern Ireland backstop kicks in if there's no formal solution, so Northern Ireland could still be hived off to the EU, breaking up a country. Remember, there's 3,500, 4,000 people died there to remain British. You know, people gave their blood to remain British in Northern Ireland, and Theresa May just hands it over to some bunch of jumped up bureaucrats in Brussels. It's ridiculous. There's certain tax laws and workers' rights that put in place which would mean that Britain cannot even compete with European EU countries. So we leave, we can do our own tax regime, we can lower taxes, bring big companies here. Like Ireland does, but they're still in the EU. That's why all the tech companies are there, because they pay no tax. No, we can't do that. We're not allowed to do that. Even though we're not in the EU. No, you can't do it. People in the EU can do it, you can't do it. And it makes us basically uncompetitive. We can't really compete. It's not on an even keel. There's still talk of an EU army that we may have to be involved in. An EU army. You know, this is sounding incredible, like a wee Austrian guy with a moustache. Every time we hear more about this, it's very dangerous. There is still going to be the European Court of Human Rights, which is the main problem and the main issue that we had to get out of this bloody death trap called the EU in the first place. We're still trapped in it. So where's the deal? What deal? And I don't know if anybody remembers, but I made a film a few days after the Brexit vote back in 2016, and I told people then, under no circumstances will Britain be allowed to leave.
Hold everybody, this is exactly what would happen. Now people today are saying, don't worry, it's a minor thing, the Brexit will still go ahead. Don't be fooled. You know, when you get fooled once, fair enough. Fooled twice, you're an idiot. I told you then, I'll tell you again, they will do everything they possibly can to stop this, and they will stop it, because if Britain leaves the EU collapses, and Europe will be in a situation they were in the 1920s. They'll be taking home their wages in wheelbarrows. So do you honestly think we'll be allowed to leave?
And I put that video out, and I get 400,000 views on Facebook, YouTube and all this. And people derided me. They said I was an idiot, a half-wit. When people of Britain have voted, Jim, you're wrong, we're out, that's it. And then Gina Miller arrived, and the court cases and so on and so forth, and I told you then, don't worry about Gina Miller. She doesn't have to go to court. The politicians and the establishment and the ruling elite have no intentions of allowing us to leave. Theresa May voted to remain. Boris Johnson was a pro-EU fanatic just a few weeks before he started heading up the Leave campaign. So when you put a pro-EU guy in charge of the Leave campaign, his job, he was supposed to mess it up. But as usual with Boris Johnson, he messed up messing up. So he did mess up, but he messed up the wrong way from their point of view. He messed up the right way for us. So hats off to you, Boris. You're such an idiot. You got it right. Well done. But that man could end up being the leader of the Tory party. He's a snake. He was in support of the EU a few weeks before he led the Leave EU campaign. So it gives you an idea of his moral framework. But there's no mention in it. What was the other big bugbear? Immigration. We want control of our own borders. Is it in this deal that Theresa May's brung back from Brussels? No. Not a word of it. Nothing said about it. Well, nothing constructive. So we can still be flooded with people, and nothing we can do about it. But surely there's something about our borders. Well, no, there isn't. So let's try and summarise this. And I'm very angry, by the way. I'm very angry. I knew it was always going to happen. I made videos telling people it wasn't going to happen. Everybody was laughing at me. He ain't laughing now. Nobody's laughing, including me. So what have we got out of this? We voted on the biggest mandate the British people have ever delivered in the history of this island race to leave the EU. She's come back with a deal. Our Prime Minister, who is only there to carry out the will of the people. And I want to explain something to people here, because a lot of people, especially English people, don't understand this. Parliament is not sovereign in this country. You get it? That is why we fought a civil war, the 1640s. Parliament is not sovereign. The people of Britain are sovereign. They are sovereign. And they instruct the Parliament to do their bidding as they have directed them. We voted by the millions to leave the EU. These MPs should only be interested in one thing: leaving the EU on the best possible deal. Or it doesn't matter if there's no deal. We voted to leave. The decision was made to leave. So their job is to make us leave, not to get into this and do some deal. And what marvellous deal have they got us? Our fishing is still owned by the EU. Northern Ireland might be stolen by the EU. We still have to pay the same tax rates and all the rest of it as the EU, so there's no economic advantage from us in the way of commerce and business. We may be sucked into an EU army. The European Court of Human Rights still has the final say on all decisions made in this country. We have no say over immigration and we have no control over our borders. Where the hell's the deal? Am I missing something? I mean, I know I don't have many O-levels, but I'm not that stupid, surely. Or am I? Guys, have I missed something? Have I missed something? Is there something going on that I don't know about? Do you know of something? Okay, so it's not me. It's not me. It's not me being a complete imbecile and missing this. There is no deal. There is no Brexit. So all of these years of negotiations where guys, Theresa May, we are pals, we are pro-EU pals, sitting in the common room, drinking Chablis, saying, right, we need to spin it out longer, con these people, and at the end it will fudge something in and we'll come out with a 500-page document and say, we have a deal. But in reality, they're still in the EU. Nothing's changed, but it's called a deal. And they'll maybe fall for it because everybody's bloody fed up listening to the Brexit stuff in the news every night. There is no deal. They've been drinking wine in the bar for 2 years. And that's what's happened. So, I'm sorry this has happened. And if you're wondering why I'm ranting and raving, it's a wonder I'm not getting my rifle and marching on Parliament. That's how bad this is. These people are traitors. They have betrayed the British people. They've betrayed the memory and the shed blood of our war dead. That's what they've done. That's what they've done. Theresa May and her gaggle of half-wits in the Tory party and all the other socialist scum, red left-wing scum, have conspired to commit an act of treason upon the British people. And in a previous generation, there would be angry mobs with pitchforks marching across Waterloo Bridge, down through London, over to Westminster, and storming those sacred halls. And these MPs would be dragged out the street and strung up for the traitors that they are. Now, I'm not advocating violence in any way, shape or form, as you know. But that's how serious it is. And in different times, there would have been a revolution over this. There might still be a revolution over this. Because these MPs are making one big mistake. I know English people and British people were quiet, decent, dignified people. And we go by the rules. We're a bit like the Germans. We go by the rules. We go by the law of the land. What this whole debacle has showed us, decent, normal citizens are completely ignored. Our wishes, our democratic rights don't exist anymore. We voted, the biggest vote country has ever seen in our 1,000-year history as a country. Completely ignored. You've seen all the left-wing people trying to overturn it, trying to squash it, trying to curb it in the courts. But there was no need for any of it, because our politicians, the people who were supposed to represent us, had absolutely no desire ever to get us out of the EU. And they were all conspiring over in Brussels against us. And the big problem was, how do we keep these bloody Brexiteers off our back? How do we con them? How do we make them think that they're leaving but they're not leaving? How do we pull the wool over their eyes? How can we make a fool of these people? I'm being serious. That's the conversations I really genuinely think Junckers and Theresa May and all the rest of these people were having. How do we make a fool of the British people without them knowing? Well, they've made a mistake that other people made. The Kaiser once made it. Adolf Hitler made it. Mussolini made it. Many other despots have made it. The British people are no fools. The British people are not soft. And the British people are nobody's mugs. And Theresa May, the Tory party, the entire British establishment have took the British people for mugs. And you have made a fool of us, you have lied to us, and you have robbed us of our hard-won democratic rights. And you have spat in the graves of our fathers and grandfathers who died so that we could have a parliament. So imbeciles like May that could sit in there with their fat salaries and expenses. And now you've threw it all back in our face and trampled upon everything that we hold dear. Well, I can tell you, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I am not having it. I am not having it. And I hope everybody watching this film agrees with me that if we have to turn over every rock in this country and cause such a row to make sure this goes through, that's what we should do. Because this really is a matter of life and death. This really is a declaration of war on the British people. And if you declare war on the British people, we will fight back. And I'm asking every single British patriot to stand up, be counted, and say, we voted Brexit, we voted leave, get us out or we'll get ourselves out. God bless you, take care, and I'll see you again in the next report. Thank you. Okay, folks, you've seen the film. If you're as upset and angry about the Brexit betrayal it is, make no mistake about it, please share this film. Send it to people. We need to make our voice heard, and we need to cause as big a row about this as humanly possible. So please, share the film, and let's get shouting about this as soon as we can. Thanks very much.
The threat is real, and we are on the front line. In a world of misinformation and attacks from the left and mainstream media, censorship, deplatforming, it is time to call out the fake news and bring you the truth. We are the Knights Templar. Visit our website and join today. We are the Resistance. Deus Vult.